Welcome back to my frequency. I want to reveal to the whole world that I have become an entertainer, a dancer, a stripper, whatever you want to call it. And the reason why and how I got into this industry. I am currently in Houston, Texas at the Galleria. And I wrote some notes in this little book. So if you see me looking down, that's what I'm looking at. Start like where I was intrigued with dancing. I was first intrigued by the world of dancing in high school. Like I used to watch YouTube videos that were like, oh my God, like these girls are so pretty. They're making so much money, you know? So I was always intrigued by the idea of dancing. There was like times in my life where I thought like maybe I could do this, but I was always too like nervous like to show off my body that much, you know? So I never acted upon it. No. If you watch my other videos, you know that I ended up, you know, going to school for personal training and I got my certification, and then I eventually opened a small shop, a metaphysical shop inside of a gym, and I'm really passionate about that. That's my vision, right? Physical and spiritual health has always been my vision. But now it's a matter of funding that vision, because I noticed even when I had the shop, like everything around me was changing. You know, I had my classes, I had my clients, I had everything, you know, but the one thing that wasn't changing was my personal finances. And I said, okay, well, how do I change my personal finances? What is the metaphysical spiritual reason to how I can change my finances? And that's related to the root chakra. Okay, in my 10th house, which is my long-term career in astrology, I have Lilith, and Lilith is the sex god. Okay, and Capricorn 10th house is business. So I said, all right, I need to embrace my sexual energy. I need to tap into this root chakra energy, and I need to unlock the abundance that I truly desire. So as I was there at the shop, you know, I started progressively becoming unhappy because I felt like everything around me was changing. You know, I had high-end clientele and I was like confused. I was like, why are my finances changing but everything around me is changing? So then I decided to look into dancing, right? Because I was like, you know what, I can go into dancing, I can make money, and then I'll be able to utilize that money to then fund the vision of physical and spiritual health. And so yeah, that's how I began the journey of being, you know, it took me a long time to even convince myself to step into a strip club. To be honest, I did a lot of research, you know, hours upon hours, just researching girls' experiences, and dancing is actually a sales position. So in this industry, I have been able to practice my sales skills and even become more comfortable with rejection and being able to look at it as a numbers game. So let's start back to how I ended up going into a strip club. So I remember I had just turned 21. I was maybe like 3 months into being 21, and I was like, all right, I get to go into a strip club, because here in Texas, you have to be 21 to go into a strip club. So there's this strip club in San Antonio. Everybody knows about it. It's called Sugars. And I decided to go, and I had invited my friend, right? And last minute, she pulled out, and I was like, all right, I'll go inside by myself. So I go in, you know, I go inside, and they're like, oh, you have to have a partner. I don't have a partner to go inside. And then, so what I did is I went to my car and I was calling everybody, like all my friends. I was like, please come join me so I can go inside. And, you know, I want to go see what this world is like. But no one, everybody said no. And I was like, you know, I kind of came to a moment where I was like, well, maybe, you know, maybe I'm not supposed to be here. Maybe the devil is tricking me, you know? It's so funny to think about. But I started driving out, and then I saw a black cat. And the black cat to me symbolizes, for me, I'm a Leo moon, and Leo is ruled by the cat, and the dark side of the moon is Lilith. So black cat, Lilith, Capricorn 10th house. Okay, Lilith 10th house. All right, so I kind of got that message. It takes a little bit of decoding, but anyway, so as I'm driving out, I see a group of girls. There's a bachelor and a bachelorette. What's the girl version of that? Bachelorette? I rolled up my window. I was like, hey, can I go inside with you? I don't have anybody to go inside with. And they're like, okay. So then I get down and I pretend I'm in this party, and I walk in. They're like, okay, they let me go inside. And I remember like walking in and like seeing the girls on stage, and I was like, oh my God, these girls like so empowered. I was like, wow, like so, you know, sexy and confident. And I was like, wow, I really like this, you know. So then happened outside. Yeah. So then we got a little section And the girls there, they gave me money to go throw on the girls. So I went up there and threw it, and I was like, how fun is this? They get to dance and be sexy and people throw money at them, right? That's so awesome. And I remember sitting there, and by the end of the night, you know, the girls I was sitting with, I was like, hey, like, you know, I want to dance, and what do you think about me dancing? They're like, yeah, like, do it. Like, if I had your body, I would do it. And I was like, okay, maybe, you know? So that kind of sparked my interest in it. So then I went home, and I was like, okay, I think I'm going to do this. Because I wasn't making enough money from where I was at. You know, I was like, no, I need to make more money. And then, let me think. So I had a friend from high school that worked there, and I messaged her. I put her in a group chat with her and my other friend, and I was asking her questions, and, you know, I started practicing my routine from my audition, and you know, she was like, yeah, do it. You know, if you think you can do it, do it. You have to have a strong backbone to do it. And I was like, okay. My phone's dying. She ended up putting a good word for me, and I went in, and they were like, oh, we don't hire girls with experience. Now, let me tell you, what I learned from that is no matter if you do or don't have experience as a stripper, just tell them you have experience. I ended up telling them that I worked in El Paso and I was underage, and it's not like they were gonna call anybody and ask. But at first they rejected me because I didn't have experience. So then I was like, I'm gonna get in. I'm gonna try it. Like, now I'm a little too invested to not do it, you know? So then later on that evening, I saw another one of my Pisces friends. So the first girl was a Pisces, the second girl was a Pisces. I'm a Pisces, so there's, you know, a lot of Pisces energy. And I saw that on her story that she was at the strip club, and I was like, hey, like, I want to go with you. She was like, yeah, let's go tonight. And I was like, oh shit, like, okay, let's go. So I think it was either that night or the next day that I went with her back to Sugar's, and I met her there, and she had worked there prior. And I told her, I was like, you know, I want to be a dancer. And she was like, okay, let's do it. She's like, I know the manager, like, I'll get you in. And I was like, all right. And you know what? It's a good case of, it's not what you know, it's who you know. And I ended up getting the audition, and I came in that that Sunday. And that same day, earlier that day, I had scheduled like 2 weeks prior a pole dancing class. So I had never touched a pole before, so I wanted to see what that was about. And so after my pole dancing class, I went to Sugar's, and I had my little outfit. It was a little belly dancing skirt and my little top that I made. It was such a cute outfit. And I walked in, I'm all like, driving there, that was the most anxiety. I was like, oh my God, like, I'm really about to do this. Like, you know, just go in, right? So I walk in, and, you know, I'm like, I'm looking for this guy, which JF was the manager. And then he pulled me into this little room, and he was like, okay. He looked at my body, he was like, turn around, and I was like, hold on. To be honest. And he was like, okay. He was like, yeah, you can work. He was like, go change, and we're gonna put you on stage. And I'm like, all right. So I go to the back, I put my latex on, because in San Antonio you have to put latex on. San Antonio is a little more conservative than other cities compared to Austin and Houston. And so I put my outfit on. They're like, okay, go on stage, you're next. And I'm like, okay. All right. But yeah, outside, I'm like, all right, I can do that. Yeah, okay, let's go. And I get on stage, and I'm doing my thing, you know. As I'm twirling on the pole, I'm like, oh my God, I did it, you know. And that's on my first stage set. My fucking nipple pasties fell off, my nail broke, my shoe fell off stage, but I was confident. I kept going with it, you know, the show must go on. And I got tipped, and so it was really cool. So that was the first experience of me ever. I ended up leaving that club because it was a little cool instead of going to another club at All Stars. And I remember I actually ran into my high school best friend there. You know, and I got off stage, and she ran up to me, she was like, oh my God, Jolene! And I was like, oh my God, no! Like, at first I was like, I don't want anybody to know I'm dancing, but she was so cool with it, you know, so it was like confirmation that I was on the right path when I saw her. So it was really hard for me, to be honest, in the beginning, dancing. It even is still to this day. Sometimes I cry before going in. So I decided that maybe waitressing was a better idea, right? So I got my certifications for food handling and liquor license and liquor, whatever, so I could serve liquor. And I decided to keep the position, because once you go from dancer to waitress, you cannot go back, right? So I said, I'm gonna say that, and since you're an independent contractor as a dancer, you can be on multiple clubs at one time. So I said, I'm gonna keep All Stars open and try waitressing at Sugar's. So then the first night that I went to Sugar's and I was a waitress, it wasn't really hard for me because I'm an independent contractor for 3 years. I've been my own boss for a while now. I went in and tried it. I was like, what is there to lose? And then I remember that night I was having fun. I had a lot of fun, but there was this one customer that bought a tequila shot from me. And they decided that they didn't want it anymore. And so I told my manager, and they were like, okay, well, try selling this tequila shot, and if you can sell, we'll take out your tab. So I kind of took it on like a challenge, and I was like, all right. Out in the corner, and my eye saw this man sitting down, and I was like, he looks familiar. So I walked on up there, and I had known this gentleman prior, because I followed him on Instagram, and, we chatted a little bit, and, he was my crush from afar. So I started talking to him more, and then we really, started getting along, really easily, and he asked my number, and little did I know that he was going to change my life forever. And we started seeing each other more regularly. And at first, I didn't want to tell him that I had experienced dance. I know what men are going to think when you're dancing, so I didn't say anything at first, but I knew I had to say something eventually. So then, around our second, time hanging out, I ended up telling him. He was like, what? He was like, I told him about my vision, because he was a personal trainer and I'm a personal trainer. I told him how I stepped into this industry so I can be able to make money doing this and be able to fund my long-term vision. And he really resonated with that, and he said that he's actually been trying to manifest something to help him do the same thing. So, we automatically clicked. We were on very similar vibrations, and so we just went full force. During this time, I hadn't told my mother, right? So I'm really close to my mom, so it was like, I didn't want to tell her because I was scared about her judgment. I really was. And I was telling him about this, and one day I just left my mom's house not knowing where I was going to go, to be honest, because I was just having this pressure of her not knowing what I'm doing, and I felt like I'm living a double life, and it was just, not fun, even though I had only gone once or twice every 2 weeks, every 3 weeks. I ended up, leaving, and he told me to come to Austin and stay with him. So I went over there, and we've been together since. So I danced in Austin for a little bit, which Austin's a little more liberating because you don't have to wear latex and stuff like that. We were there for a while, and then I ended up trying a new club called Diamonds in San Antonio. So we would go back and forth all the time. Those are one of my favorite memories is, us just, brainstorming about business, and, we're very similar. And he's super respectful, always has led in a divine masculine way, very, very gentleman-like. So then at Diamonds, I really started getting really comfortable there. So I started dancing mostly at Diamonds, and I've met great women that become sisters on this journey. I've had a lot of fun, and I've grown a lot in my physical body because of it. So it's been great. The journey has been great. So I'm actually going to look at my notes real quick just to make sure I tell you everything, because I'm trying to spill the tea on everything. Waitressing, yeah. Oh yeah. So this has helped me, honestly, with my sales experience, because, I've done sales, for a couple years now. And dancing is a sales position. This is literally a sales position. You have your whole system that you run through. You find a client, you talk to them, you build rapport, you have effective questioning, you have your closing question, you try to upsell them. So it's very much a sales system, and I wish actually more women realize that it really is sales. You're a businesswoman. So I will say that it's helped me with dealing with rejection and learning how to look at this as a numbers game instead of looking at it as personal. I mean, you can take, especially in the beginning, I definitely took the rejection personal, because your product is your package, your fantasy that you're selling. But I've become better at sales, and I have actually become better at asking and demanding money. You know, I think that's something that in the past I really had to learn, is be able to say, do you have money? What's in your wallet? Give me money so I can give you this service. It's just an equal give and exchange, healthy relationship we got going on. So asking for money has become easier for me. Let's see. Telling my mom. Okay, telling my mom. So I didn't want to tell my mom until I had moved out her house, right? That was just kind of my thing. So then, but it came to a point where it was limiting me, that anxiety and fear was even limiting me to going into work, because I was just worried about that judgment. So then what I decided to do, you know, I talked to Mr. Gemini about this, and he was like, you know what? He was like, tell her, you need to tell her, you know, and I was like, okay. So I wrote out a letter explaining why I'm doing this, you know, and I had put it, I had my little sister put it on her bed, and honestly, I had so much built up anxiety for no reason, because she was just glad that I was honest with her, and I felt like a big alleviation. At least she knew that what I was doing, you know, I was no longer living a secret double life. So that was, you know, really, it really alleviated a lot of pressure and anxiety that I had felt prior. All right, so after Austin, we took a trip to Houston, and I fell in love with the city. I have always loved Houston. Honestly, I think the city is so grand and beautiful, and just the energy in Houston's like, go hard, hustler vibe, you know. I'm like, yes, like, I'm a big dreamer. I'm always about dreaming big and being able to work hard for what you desire. So, you know, I'm really glad that the man I'm with, he was supportive of it, and he liked Houston as well. So you know what, it was just kind of a thing where we were like, well, you know, the club industry here in Houston's crazy. Like there's like 30 plus clubs in Houston. So I was like, you know, if I'm gonna be dancing, I'm gonna go hard on this. I'm gonna make the most money I can, and I'm going to, you know, profit and, you know, not generate income for myself, also for my family. You know, I want to leave a legacy. Like, I'm here on earth not for some like little lifetime. I'm here to leave a big impact on this collective. That's the reason why I came back to earth, you know, is to ascend and allow and help the frequency of the collective raise, you know. Yeah. So, and it came to a point where I felt like I had to put me helping everybody on hold and really be able to put myself first for the first time. So I left, you know, San Antonio. I had my meditation classes over there, and it was really sad to leave my meditation classes. I had built up a big community, but I knew that I would come back to this. I needed to just first develop secure flow of income and be able to invest in the marketing, because I have my system structured down. I have my business mission down. I have everything down now. Now it's just a matter of funding the vision and bringing it on a larger scale. Okay, so we're almost done with the video. Thank you for sticking with me this whole time. I appreciate you, friends, and family, and divine souls. Let's talk about the pros and cons. I have some written down, so let's talk about the pros and cons. So the pros, money. You know, money is a big one. Sexual empowerment, right? You're just, you know, confident, you're secure in your sexual energy, and be able to express that freely, and not feel shame. You know, I that's something that I cannot resonate with is feeling confident with your creativity and expressing that. Glamour, right? You're getting dressed and sexy, and you have your costumes and different themes that you can, you know, characters you can embody, which is really nice. Working out, right? So it's a workout. This shit's a workout. You're constantly moving your body. You're doing tricks on stage and climbing the pole and flips and handstands and stuff. So it's a really good way to move your body. Scheduling, so you can make your own schedule. You're an independent contractor. You go in when you want. You can leave when you want. Pros is enforcing boundaries. So establishing boundaries and having boundaries is different than enforcing. So my phone died while I was at the Galleria. I just wanted to finish up with the cons, which is like, you know, establishing your boundaries, because people can cross your boundaries here in this industry. House fees you have to pay to work. Negative body image, you know, you can like really feel some type of way about your body and, you know, compare yourself and want to get surgery. But yeah, if you want to follow my journey, to subscribe. But yeah, my first stage name was Neptune. And if you are a stripper, what was your first stage name? And pick one if you're not. I want to hear in the comments what your stage name would be. So blessings. Thank you for tuning in to me, and I look forward to seeing you soon.